Hey guys, Steve Welch here again, Beaman Toyota in downtown Nashville. Going to answer a question that there's always an argument about this, and I figured I'd kind of address it for us because there's two schools of thought, and I'm going to give you both schools of thought, and I'm going to give you both arguments. I'm going to let you make your own choice. So I'm not going to tell you how to think. I'm just going to tell you the logistics of it. All right, so here's the question that a lot of people have. Should I buy from a big dealership, downtown wherever, whether downtown Cincinnati, Indy, whatever, you're going to find your larger dealerships usually downtown, or should you buy from a smaller dealership, maybe one that doesn't sell so many vehicles, and which way are you going to get your best deal? Now, I've got my own school of thought on this, but I'm going to give you both. That way you can make your own decision and see which one works best for you. Now, you can see I'm walking on a big lot. We got 8 acres downtown for Beaman here. So there's definitely a lot of inventory that we normally have when we're not in the middle of a pandemic or anything like that. So we'll always have a lot of inventory. So here's the two schools of thought. Now, why do you go to a large dealership? Why do you go to a dealership that's got a lot of inventory? And there's your first answer. You're gonna have a better shot of finding the car that you want today at somebody that's got more inventory. Now, can a smaller dealership get them brought in and go out and find a big dealership that has the car you want and get it drove into them and do all that? Sure, they can definitely do that. I can do that too. I can go to, maybe a small dealership has an oddball vehicle that just nobody else has, and maybe I can get it brought in. So that being said, yeah, we can all get the same vehicles. We can all get our hands on a vehicle that you might want, but to kind of give you the idea, we're not. It's when you're talking about new vehicles, let's put it that way. So just talking about new vehicles, we can all get our hands on it. Now on used vehicles, here's where something changes. So you go to a dealership that has very few used vehicles, they're not going to be able to get one brought in. They're not getting one from another dealership usually. If they do, they have to buy it at an over wholesale cost if somebody would sell it to them. But here's the point. Why would you sell it to another dealership, especially somebody that's not too far away from you, when you know there's somebody in the market that wants the car that you have? So that being said, and then you could sell it cheaper than what they could. So that being said, why do that? So that's something else to look at. So so basically, here's the reason that people always like to go to the big dealerships: inventory. So there's your opposite, that your small ones won't have the inventory, the extra inventory. They can get it, and I have a helicopter right overhead in case you're wondering what that noise is. But they can get it. They might get it. But that's only on the new side. So here's the other thing. So this is one of the big arguments that people have for small dealerships, is they say they don't have the overhead. They don't have to pay as many bills. They don't have to come out of pocket. Now, and I'm full disclosure, like I said, I work at a big dealership. Here's the thing. Do you have less of a light bill? Maybe. Is it a lot less? Probably not. Do you pay less for your inventory? No, the inventory is the same cost. You just have less of it. Everybody pays the same price for the same inventory. So if you start looking at, all right, what are your set costs? What are things that a dealership has to pay? You got to pay employees. You have to that. So all right. So here's the thing. If you're paying a certain amount of set cost and selling a certain amount of vehicles, and so say that your costs are 50% of a large vehicle or of a large dealership. Let's say your costs are 25% of the large dealership. All right. Well, let's say that you have 10% of the inventory of that large dealership, because that's going to probably equate to about right. So on that 10% of that inventory, you have to pay, or you have to sell it at a higher price because you have a higher cost basis. So basically meaning that you have to make a little bit more on every vehicle just to cover your costs and your expenses. And if you don't make that little bit more on each vehicle, then you can't even make your bills. So when, paying your people and everything else. So that being said, what I would, where my mindset goes is, man, it's, if you make, $500 on a vehicle as an average profit and you sell 1,000 vehicles in a month, you've done okay. If you make $500 on an average vehicle and you sell 10 vehicles in a month, you're not making your bills. So all these dealerships that have the, 50, 60, 70 cars on the lot, you got to realize what their turn rate is. So how many cars do they sell in a month? How many cars do they sell in a week? How many salespeople do they have? How many service techs do they have? How many cars do they service to help keep their service department up? So you start looking at the law of large numbers and a volume. Once you expand that amount out, you're going to be able to have a lot more leeway on what you can get and what you can do at a large dealership than what you would a small. So, and I know that people are going to argue with me on this, and that, be quite honest, for the comments, do it. I'm gonna argue right back at you, but put them. There are people that argue the opposite way that I'm arguing and say that, like I said, that the small ones have lower overhead, treat you more like an individual rather than a number. I've heard all of those things, and it's fine. You can say that. But here's the thing. When you're sitting in front of me, you're my customer. You're the only one that I'm worried about right then. And here's the other thing is, if something happens and you need something done, I have the ability to get most of it done without too much of any issues for you. So when you start considering what you are getting, all right, so now, whereas, other salesperson might sell 5 cars in a month and I'll sell 20, give or take, and when I say sell, I mean help you buy, am I going to be a little bit busier than somebody else? Sure. But here's the thing. I remember everybody. I remember when you come in, you come back for service, I'm still here because I can make a paycheck, and I'm not going, I've got 3 cars out and it's the 30th of the month, and I can't quite make a paycheck. So a lot of these small dealerships, I've noticed they have a really good turnover on how many people come in. They work for a couple months and then they leave. The bigger dealerships, and here I can tell you, we retain a lot of people. Mr. Beaman's awesome to work for. So now, a lot of what other people will tell you is that all these big dealerships, they're all owned by corporations. Not all of them. Beaman's family owned. So now, if you start looking at that, you start asking that question, I'm gonna tell you that's right. You find these conglomerates that own 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 dealerships. Now you're getting to where, you're a number to those people. Why? Because it's all corporately owned. It's corporate earnings. It's corporate this, corporate that. Even the chains of the used car dealerships, those are all ran in a different kind of way than what like this dealership is. And what I'll tell you, and this is all my opinion, of course, but I would much rather buy a vehicle from a dealership that's owned by one person or a family. And it's not that hard to figure out why. I will tell you that this dealership's probably second to none. I've seen a few in my day, and there's really nobody that does things in the same kind of way that this one does. So like I said, I'm just kind of having a conversation with you like I've done on some of these other ones, and I welcome your opinions. You can call me wrong if you want to. I really, I'm not, but you can call me wrong if you want to. But I would always say find somebody that's more of a family-owned dealership. Maybe you've got a couple in your network or whatever, but man, I think that for the inventory, for the ability to take care of you, for all of the reasons that I've stated, that it really is better to buy from a large dealership. I mean, how many vehicles do you have? When you have 80 to 100 RAV4s, is the chance that I have the right color and the right trim level and the right options. If you wanted the hybrid, I got it. I've got it. you know, and like I said, without a pandemic around, it's usually a little bit better. But I mean, this is still great. I mean, we're still loaded up on inventory pretty good, and we've been selling cars. So I'm just telling you that it is definitely, in my opinion, better to go from a large dealership, even if it's, you know, on the outskirts of town, as opposed to in downtown or that. Find somebody that's got vehicles, and here's the other thing. Find somebody that's got the vehicle you want, and work with them. But always pick your salesperson, and always try to work with the same one. And if you go back for a second vehicle, always have them, or always try to go back with the same salesperson. He's going to work harder for you even the second time than he did the first time. So, but definitely, guys, just let me know if I can help you with anything. You can always reach out to me via email at buyatoyotanashville@yahoo.com. Buyatoyotanashville@yahoo.com. That is my dedicated YouTube email. So you can always get a hold of me there. But like I said, feel free to argue with me. I know I'm right, but you can always try. So Steve Welch from Beaman Toyota in downtown Nashville, hoping to help you guys to buy your next vehicle. Looking at the 4Runners here, got a ton of those too. But definitely, I appreciate every one of you guys for watching. Let me know if I can help you with anything at all. Steve Welch, Beaman Toyota. Have a great day.